tour guide, Olena. And this is a very special event for me because this is my first live stream ever on YouTube. So I feel very excited and I feel a little bit nervous. So forgive me, please, if I will do something wrong or I don't know. Well, welcome to the ghost town of Pripyat. My first live stream, I've decided spontaneously, basically, to do it from here, because this is the place of my force, a very special place, really. It has a very special energy. Yes, first of all, that is the place of the worst nuclear disaster, the Chornobyl exclusion zone, but at the same time, that is a place where you can see how powerful is the nature, because nature is taking it back. Well, I will take you for a walk here in Pripyat. I can see at least one person already joined me. Hello. I believe I will have to see some comments. Please let me know if you hear me or you don't. Hi. Hello, Dave. Do you hear me, Dave? Is the sound okay? Please let me know. Because that is my first watching from Philippines. Yes, I can hear you. Oh, cool. Hello. Nice to meet you. Wow, 3 people already. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so I am right now in the town of Pripyat. The ghost town of Pripyat, that is the very heart of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And let me show that first of all, here we have a very beautiful nature. The snow fell on the ground. You can see all is covered with the snow. Very beautiful. Unfortunately, it started to melt down just today. Yesterday, when we were driving here with my colleague, in the morning it was minus 25 degrees, really, in the air. But it got warmer, and right now it is about 0. So basically, the snow even started to melt. So that is the last day, the last moment of this winter magic in the Pripyat. And I'm starting from a kindergarten, from a micro district number 5 and the kindergarten. The micro district number 5 is, I will tell you later about this. Well, why I like to take people here, because here you have very big windows. So Simon, that is for you. I don't take people inside of the buildings in the Chernobyl exclusion zone because that is forbidden by laws. Yeah, in the legal tours that is forbidden. And I'm a tour guide that thinks that your safety during your visit to the Chernobyl exclusion zone, that is my priority. So I am taking people to such places as this kindergarten where you can see through the windows what is going inside. Well, like this. So that place, the kindergarten, connected with the children, is something that is very heartbreaking. And Chernobyl exclusion zone, that is a very heartbreaking place. Kindergarten, yeah. Well, Pripyat was the city of children. Very young town created specially for the workers of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, just 3 kilometers away from the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Yeah, it was built here just 3 kilometers away from the nuclear power plant, especially for the workers of the nuclear power plant. And they started to build Pripyat from 0, from nothing. Chernobyl power plant was supposed to become the biggest in the world. It was the first nuclear power plant on the Ukrainian territories, so it was a very ambitious project of the Soviet Union, especially for this energy, huge nuclear power plant. They built the city of the future. And life in this city was very, very nice before it became the ghost town, of course, because the authorities, they invested a lot into this project, into the city. So they were building Pripyat little by little together with the nuclear power plant. When the reactor number 1 was launched at the nuclear power plant, here in Pripyat, the district number 1 was built for the workers of the nuclear power plant, and so on. So when the district number 2 was built, people who were living here in the district number 2, they started to work for the reactor number 2. So how many reactors were there at the nuclear power plant? Anybody knows? I'm sure somebody. So how many reactors? 3 reactors, almost. So there were 4 reactors at the nuclear power plant that were operational. Yeah, 4 built, 2 under construction. Simon knows. Yes, you are correct. 4 nuclear power plants were already built at the moment of the accident. They started to build the reactors number 5, 6, and according to some sources, there were plans to build 12 reactors. But on the 6th of April, 1986, the accident happened, and these reactors number 5 and 6 were never finished. In Pripyat, I am right now in the micro-district number 5, which is the newest micro-district. It was the last one to be built. Here, the micro-district number 6, they just started to build it, but never finished because of the accident, because everybody were evacuated from Pripyat. So basically, right now, I am in the newest micro-district, number 5. That was the last micro-district that was built here. People before the accident, to many apartments, they just moved in and they had to run away, to leave it all behind. When the accident happened, when the evacuation was announced, these people, they didn't know they were leaving this place like forever. Pripyat, before the accident, as I said, was a very nice city. So right now all that looks quite heartbreaking. So we are still on the territory of this kindergarten called Cheburashka. Right now that looks quite breaking. Back in the days that looked, cheerful. Here was a playground where people of this kindergarten had been playing. The kindergarten named Cheburashka. So here is basically Cheburashka. So that is like the Soviet Mickey Mouse, okay? The Soviet Mickey Mouse, the hero of the Soviet cartoon. The kindergarten is named after this creature. In Pripyat, there were 5 micro-districts and there were 15 kindergartens at the moment of the accident. And why? Because there were so many children. Yeah, why there were so many children? Because the level of life here was very high. It was very cool, and people were given birth like a lot. Right. So right now I'm this micro district number 5, and you see there are no traces of the people, and I see that on the route that I like to take, where I like to go with my tourists, just some footprints of some wild animal. Maybe this is just a dog, maybe somebody else, maybe a fox, because we have here different kind of the animals. Yeah, so I was telling about this. The level of life here was very, very high. I right now will be walking towards the Ferris wheel, the amusement park, and on the way I will answer some of the questions. Tour de Ukraine. У вас дуже класна і приємна англійська. You have a very nice English. Thank you very much for your compliment. Там вроде менты патрулируют и могут задержать или нет. Dennis is asking, are there any policemen patrolling Pripyat? Yes, there are policemen patrolling Pripyat, but I am here absolutely legally because I am the legal tour guide and I'm having permissions when I come here with tourists. I'm having with the permissions for these tourists, and we pay for these permissions to the local administration, and administration is organizing these visits. Right now I am here on a business trip, let's say. So we as guides, sometimes we have a chance to visit Pripyat, the exclusion zone, without tourists, to explore the new routes, to develop new routes for tourists and for Like in my case, I'm also filming new content for my YouTube channel that you are watching right now. Thank you for watching. What else? Okay, so more compliments to my English. Thank you. My daughter lives with her mother, Rovno Oblast, that is a nuclear power station in city. Yeah, Dave is saying that his daughter is living in Ukraine near another nuclear power plant. Basically, in Ukraine today, we have 4 other nuclear power plants that are operational. They are working, they are producing electricity, and guess how much electricity they produce? Half. 50% of our electricity is coming from the nuclear energy. But after Chernobyl, attitude of the population towards the nuclear energy, it changed a lot. So basically the government decided that after the nuclear accident, they will not build any new nuclear power plants in Ukraine. But the thing is that still they finished all those nuclear power plants that were already in the process of construction, that they started to build. They were finished. Yeah, so today we have these 4 nuclear power plants. I just have to show you this. You can see here we have, okay, I will try. Like here, some footprints of, how to do it? Some footprints of the big footprints of the animals, and I think this is the moose. Yeah, now you see. We have a big moose who is living in Pripyat. Sometimes we see him. Who knows? Maybe we will be lucky with you to meet this animal today. So if you see a moose or a bear behind my back, let me know in the chat. Tell me, Olena, run away. There is somebody approaching here. But, well, looks like I'm really, at least here, I am alone, because these days very few tourists are coming to the Chernobyl exclusion zone simply because of the lockdown. And some of you probably know about this problem. Some of you wanted to visit Ukraine, wanted to visit the Chernobyl exclusion zone with me, maybe with another guide, but couldn't because of this lockdown. So really we have very little tourists this day. Unfortunately, because now it's very beautiful here. Pripyat is beautiful in the snow, as you can see. Yes, but that is a normal situation, that in general in the winter time we have like the low season. Less people are coming here in the winter time than in the summer. So I would say the high season starts in April and the end is like in October, November. This is when the most of the people are coming. And you see, last year we had 120,000 people visiting Pripyat, Chernobyl exclusion zone. 120,000 people per year, just imagine. On Saturdays we always had like big buses of tourists coming from many different countries. And on Saturdays that could be like 1,000 up to 2,000 people in one day. That is kind of cool for business and for tour operators who are basically doing this tourism here. But like my personal advice, if you decide to come to Chernobyl exclusion zone in the high season, choose not Saturday, choose some other day. Yeah, to feel this silence of this place. Okay, I want you to see not only my face, but this silent ghost town of Pripyat as well, so take a look. Let me see, do I have some other questions? Be careful, they can be mutated. Okay. Last year there was very little snow, which resulted in a very dry summer. This was a problem when it came to the big fires. Yes, that was a big problem. This year we had the in spring the worst wildfires in the history of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And a huge part of Chernobyl exclusion zone was damaged, was just destroyed by the fire. Luckily, the fire did not touch Pripyat like at all. So this ghost town, this open air museum survived in these fires. And yeah, last year there was like almost no snow at all. That is why I am so happy to see this beauty right now. All these covered with the snow. Yeah, that is a very good for the nature if it is snowing. Okay, what else? Hello, are you in Pripyat? Hello, Tadarian. You will be surprised, but I am. Yeah, basically Tadarian is my colleague. He is a vlogger as well. Tadarian Radioactive is the author of a very interesting vlog. It is in Russian, but with English subtitles. So if you are interested in the topic of Chernobyl, highly recommended to subscribe his channel because it's very interesting. And thank you for your support. Thanks to your support, I am basically right now. Why are you hanging out so much in the radiation? Okay, let's talk about radiation while we are walking in this ghost town. Radiation. Well, I have it under control, basically. Radiation is all the time around us. And the main source of radiation is this, over there in the sky. That is the sun. The sun is the main source of radiation on our planet. There is always a little bit. The normal natural level of radiation in Ukraine will be 0.3 microsieverts per hour. That is natural. But when you fly on board of the airplane, you have about 3-4 microsieverts per hour of radiation. That means much more. And usually you are not afraid of radiation when you are flying, right? Now, what about Pripyat? So I'm having this Geiger counter with me. Should turn it on, I believe. And right now it shows to me how much? 0.33 microsieverts per hour, 0.3. So that is almost natural. So right now here it is a little bit more than natural level of radiation. So remember, when you fly in the sky, it can reach up to 3 microsieverts. So 3 microsieverts in the airplane, that is normal. Why? Because you are closer to the sun and you've got more of radiation when you are closer to the space and to the sun. Here in Chernobyl exclusion zone is a big territory, and it is consisted of 2 subzones. One is 30-kilometer zone, which is the bigger one, and right around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant there is the most contaminated part of it, with Pripyat included. That is the so-called 10 kilometers zone. And here we have the burial sites, and here we have more radiation, and here normal level of radiation will be up to 1 microsieverts per hour. But in some places there will be hotspots with very much higher level of radiation. So you approach with your Geiger count. I'll show it to you later how it works. You like put it closer to the hotspot and it shows more. And radiation is not like evenly spread here like the snow. It is more in some places, less in other places. So you see, I walked a little bit, and here now 0.44 microsieverts. So that is already higher than natural. But you see, it's still, I'm in control. So the routes that we are taking with the tourists, they are checked in advance by dosimetrists, they are approved by the government, and they are allowed for the visits, and they are supposed to be safe for us to visit. Okay, so a small interruption about introduction of radiation. Guys, where am I right now? What do you think is this? Well, that looks a little bit like the forest, yes? Yeah, but in fact, what is this is, you see, this is their stadium. That is the central stadium of Pripyat. Somebody calls it avant-garde, but in fact, this is, it's just the central stadium. And right now, the football field looks like, you see, just like the forest. Especially that looks impressive in the summer when all that is just, you know, very green. But on the other hand, right now, not in the summer, you have a very big advantage because you can see much more of the buildings through the trees. In the summer, that is impossible. Yeah, the thing is about this stadium that it was ready to go before the accident happened, and the first ever game had to start here on the 1st of May. Do you know when the accident happened? On the 26th of April. So basically, there were no football games here. The official launch of the stadium was planned for the 1st of May. But that never happened. Instead of the game, what was happening here was one of the headquarters of the liquidators. So one of these fields where liquidators were living while they were liquidating the consequences of the accident. Okay, and I'm on the way right now, on my way to the amusement park. That is the center of Pripyat. You see, in Pripyat, the stadium, the central park, the amusement park, that is the city center, and all these micro districts are built around this central part of Pripyat. So basically, I've started in the newest district, number 5, and I'm crossing right now the city center, and we'll see. I'm heading towards the micro district number 1, basically. So, how cold is it? Yeah, so right now it's about 0 degrees, so not cold at all, but yesterday it was minus 25. Yeah, so usual temperature for Ukraine, like normal winter, that will be like minus 5, minus 2 degrees, that is normal. But last year, about 0 all the time, no snow. This year, well, it's different. In general, climate is changing, so we're supposed to have minus degrees, but looks like winters get warmer right now. Are you allowed inside any of buildings, the apartment blocks, or like the swimming pools and offices, etc.? So, Dave, that is the very difficult story, because officially you are not allowed to get inside of the buildings because some of them already started to collapse. And there is the real risk of the sudden collapse of the buildings. The problem is that these buildings are not checked by anyone, like at all. And we don't know when exactly which building is going to collapse, which building will be the next. There are policemen who are patrolling Pripyat, and if they detect a tourist, for example, with a guide inside of the building, usually the guide is fired and the tourist is taken away from the exclusion zone. But that is not the worst thing. The worst thing is that basically there is a real risk of getting some traumas because of the falling bricks, falling tourists inside of the building. So my attitude towards this equation, this problem, is that I'm not taking people inside of the buildings because that is really dangerous. Yeah, but I'm showing the places where you can see what is inside without getting physically inside. So I've started near the kindergarten, where you can see different rooms for kids with the abandoned toys. That is something you usually like getting on the photographs, but without risking getting inside. The swimming pool is on the 2nd floor. So unfortunately, I will not take you to the swimming pool. Okay, so looks like we have somebody over there. Hello, who is watching me and supporting me? Thank you, Igor. I'm surprised, but I'm having like 18 people right now watching me. Okay. Some entertainment. Yes, so, and right now I'm coming closer to the amusement park. You see this, yes? That is the iconic Ferris wheel. The special place, Instagram place, the most popular, the most famous. Everybody wants to take a selfie near this Ferris wheel. It's okay to take selfies here, by the way. Well, the thing is, why this Ferris wheel is so special? For me, that is one of the symbols of the exclusion zone of Pripyat, because this Ferris wheel, it was 100% ready to go. They wanted to launch it, guess when? On the 1st of May. And guess what? A couple of days before, the Chernobyl accident happens, and this Ferris wheel is never ever launched for kids. So there was no official launch of the Ferris wheel. I see when the accident happened, Pripyat, they were just building this city. It was just growing. It was 50,000 people of population. The plan how to develop the city was to have at least 120,000 of people. And all these plans, all these expectations, all these dreams were all of a sudden broken in 1 second by the accident. Because of the accident that no one expected to happen, and that happened, and everybody were evacuated from here. 50,000 people were evacuated from Pripyat. People didn't know they were living forever. The barbed wire was installed around Pripyat after evacuation. People were told they were living just for a couple of days. They could take only some documents, some money with them. They left everything behind, basically. They thought they will come back in 3 days, couple of days, but they never came back. This Ferris wheel, never kids took a ride on it. It was never launched, and now it's abandoned, and now it's a symbol. Basically, that is a very, very rare occasion, I would say. It used to be a rare occasion last year, at least, to have the amusement park without tourists. Last year, you could always meet somebody, because many people were visiting the amusement park. So here we have the Ferris wheel itself. In the blue sky, it looks beautiful. The yellow paint was never painted, so it's the same as always. And here are some other attractions, like merry-go-round, the bumper cars. Yeah, the city that was city of the children, the average age of population was 26 years old, because every third here was a child. So for 2 adults, there was 1 kid. Imagine it. And the adults, they were all, communists, they were believers, they were loyal, they were intelligent, because first of all, people who lived here, they were invited to work for the nuclear power plant or to do some other kind of work. But of course, they were all good people. Merry goes round. It basically turns. If you move it a little bit, it will be slowly moving. Well, that looks a little creepy. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, sorry if I'm not responding to your questions in time. I'm just learning. That is my first live stream, so forgive me. Okay. Somebody is trolling the stream. Yes, strontium was a small component, but the majority of the long-lasting radionuclides come from cesium. Okay, so who is trolling me? Dennis, strontium will absorb in bones forever. Okay, am I back? Yeah, sorry, I wasn't afraid of the question. Yeah, but connection is sometimes it's disrupted. Okay, about radiation. So after the accident, in the atmosphere, we had many different radioisotopes were released from this reactor into the atmosphere. And each element has its own life span, its own half-life period. So most of the elements, they had very short half-life period. Like, for example, iodine-131, which was very harmful. It was absorbed in the thyroid of the people, but its half-life period is 8 days only, which means in 8 days, half of the iodine disappears. In another 8 days, another half disappears, and so on. So we don't have this iodine here anymore. Most of the elements had short half-life period, The elements that are still with us, Dennis, you are right, we have lots of strontium here, and it is really absorbed in the bones. We have lots of cesium here, and it is absorbed in the muscles of people. And we have plutonium as well. So for cesium and strontium, strontium 90, cesium 137, half-life period is about 30 years, which means 35 years has passed, half of it already disappeared, but half of it is still with us. We have it. It will totally disappear in 300 years. So yes, we will have strontium and cesium for another 300 years here in Pripyat, and it will last longer than tourism, than these graffitis on the amusement parks and these buildings and so on. But the longest element is plutonium. Some of the isotopes, one of the isotopes, it has half-life period for 24,000 of years. Guys, 24,000 of years, which means it will totally disappear in 240,000 years. There will be no plutonium here anymore. So contamination will be here forever. But if you compare the level of radiation 35 years ago and now, of course, now we have much less of radiation. Basically, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, visiting Chornobyl exclusion zone, it is safe. What is not safe, well, for temporal visits, not to live here permanently. What is not safe is to eat the local fruit. So this is shipshina. Guys, Lenina Square. That is the central square of Pripyat. Now, what is the very city center? You can see there are no windows anymore. Back in the days, here on the windows, there were portraits of the local politicians. People were coming together for different holidays, for the entertainment, for concerts, and of course for brainwashing. Yeah, because that was the Soviet Union. And here they had these Communist Party meetings in this Palace of Culture. The central square was named after Lenin. The central avenue was named after Lenin. And by the way, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant itself was named after Vladimir Lenin as well. Briefly about radiation. So all the plants that are growing here, they contain radiation. Animals that are eating the plants, they absorb this radiation as well. That is why eating, picking up anything here is prohibited. Going hunting, fishing here is, by the official rules, is prohibited because of radiation. But you have to understand that when you have in the central part of Pripyat, yeah, looks like it's not really good for live streams. At least maybe that is the weather. Maybe the phone is not good enough. Yeah, we will check this. What is the problem? Yeah, so what I was saying is that basically winter time in terms of radiation, that is the most safe time of the year to visit Chernobyl exclusion zone, because these isotopes, they are in the ground mostly, they settled down, and the snow is like covering the ground. That is why we are screened from radiation. So it's like if you have a source of light and you put on the top like something, it will minimize, it will make it smaller, this radiation. Well, there are three types of radiation: alpha, beta, and gamma. Okay, so we protect from alpha and beta by our clothes. So even if you come in the summertime, you are supposed to wear long sleeves, long pants, and closed shoes, 100%, to cover your body from the radioactive dust. But for gamma radiation, this is like a wave, not a particle. It goes through your clothes. The way how you control gamma is time and distance. So our time here is limited, and we keep distance from the most contaminated parts of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And this is how you keep safe. So basically, just listen to the guide. Don't do any stupid things like eating the local plants or licking the asphalt and the metal, and you will be fine. I mean, if you don't touch, if you don't lick, if you don't eat this radiation, these isotopes, anything from here, it doesn't get inside of your body. Yes, gamma waves, yes, they just go through you, but you don't take it with you outside of the zone. Yes, so to have this cesium strontium in your body right now, in this, when you have this level of radiation that we have here today, which is 10,000 times less than it was in 1986, well, you just temporarily you're exposed to radiation, then you leave the place and you don't take it with you. Yeah, this radiation. And in general, for the whole day in the exclusion zone, you have the dose of radiation of just 0.002 millisieverts, which is like 1 hour of a flight. And that is like 50 times less than you have after X-rays over chest. Yeah, so Dennis, if you are afraid of radiation, well, I'm not saying that it is completely safe to be here. I mean, there are some risks, but if you compare these risks with the risks that you face in the big cities, maybe it is not that high. Okay. Do people actually try to eat local plants? Do people try to take some souvenirs? Well, I have never witnessed this myself because I was always very lucky with the tourists, so nobody was trying to take anything outside. That is a criminal offense, by the way, because everything that you see around here is, according to the law, is just radioactive waste. If you take something out of it, you're committing the basically terrorist attack. That is criminal offense, 3-5 years of a prison. If you take a stone from Pripyat and it's beeping as a checkpoint and you are detected, yeah, you just go to prison. So usually people don't take souvenirs from here. I'm talking about legal tourists, and to my tourists, I'm saying always that please don't take anything but photographs, don't break anything but silence, and don't leave anything but footprints, which means don't throw your rubbish around, because that is an open air museum. I mean, normally legal tourists, they behave like okay, because when they come here, they're coming here for some adventure, for some photographs, for some exploring, for some feelings, for some kind of meditation. So they are normal people, and like I don't remember, I didn't have any bad cases. There are some stalkers who are coming here as well, and these are illegal visitors to the zone, and there are different people. There are some stalkers whom I respect like a lot, and they are amazing people, like for example Stas Paleski with his wife Victoria. They have their YouTube channel. They are coming to Pripyat regularly, and they are doing a lot to save the memory about this place. They even illegally renovated some of the rooms in Pripyat. That is the work for the government, basically. But while the government is thinking about doing here the museum, maintaining the buildings keep damaged, like the weather keeps damaging them. And meanwhile, some illegal stalkers, they just, did some part of Pripyat to become a museum. Yes, Stas is great. Yes, Stas is really a great person. But there are some other illegal visitors who are doing some bad things. I mean, they are writing some bad words on the buildings. They are ruining the buildings. They are writing some bad words on the welcoming sign to Pripyat. That happened a couple of times. So they are not that good. By the way, for the moment, visiting Chornobyl exclusion zone illegally, that is just administrative offense. So people just, if they are detected by the police, they just have to pay some money, like 500 hryvnias, which is not a lot. That is why stalkers are not that afraid of being detected here. And some of them I even walk on purpose towards the checkpoint just to be arrested, because they ask, like, please take me home because we don't want to go back on foot. Because the walk, Simon, you should know how much kilometers one way to get to Pripyat. As far as I know, it's about 50 kilometers on foot, which is not that easy. Your tours to Pripyat, do you include a visit to the Duga radar station? Yes, for sure. So basically, there are many tour operators who are operating here in the Chornobyl exclusion zone. And I must say that almost like all of them they are good operators. I mean, there is no zero company that I can say like don't go with this company. They are like shit. No, I wouldn't say like this. So all tour guides that work here. So in one day we are visiting one of the drive on the territory of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and finally we visit the ghost town of Pripyat, and we try to spend here the most of the time. That is about 1 hour, 2 hours. This is what you can afford in one day trip, because you see the tour is lasting the whole day, but there are long distances between the locations. Yeah, so you spend 1 hour at the radar, hour and a half in Pripyat, and some like 30 minutes on each of the locations. Chernobyl exclusion zone is 2 hours from Kyiv to the north of the country, so it's 2 hours of a drive, 120 kilometers. And Chernobyl exclusion zone itself is a huge territory. It's 2,600 square kilometers. It's the size of Luxembourg. It's like 3 Berlins, I believe, so it's a big territory, which you can explore basically endlessly. So maybe 2 days, that is how much time you need to explore normally without rush the Chernobyl exclusion zone, especially if you are a photographer. Because for you to explore it normally means to stay like in this, for example, square, not just to cross it, but like to spend 10 minutes next to this plant to take a nice photograph of this plant and of the Palace of Culture. So photographers needs always a little bit more time. 1 day for the first visit is okay as well. Then you can choose a group tour or a private tour. The private tour is of course more expensive, but in this case you can, the guide is only for you and he can go where you want if it is legal, and to fit, to tailor the tour according to your interests. Yeah, the question was just, do you take people to the radar? Yes, I take people to the radar. That is one of the main locations. Also, maybe better for you to try to find a place with better signal. Well, maybe that is just my phone that is freezing, because basically I'm standing right next to this 16th floor building, which we call Gerbavik. So on the roof of this building, there is a mobile antenna with 4G internet. So basically I'm in the place with the best signal, supposed to be. And I started it from further away where the signal was worse. Yeah, so I'm sorry for these technical moments, but I don't think if I come back, the signal will be better. I think I just have to stop walking. Yeah, maybe that is the main reason why. And I will just film the place and later put the video on the YouTube, so you will have a chance to watch Pripyat in the snow. 37 kilometers if you take a direct route from the Ush River. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, so 40 kilometers direct. I've been told by some stalkers they have to walk like sometimes 50 kilometers, probably depends on the weather and on the route. Love the snow. I hope my trip in April can take place, if not, then later this year. Well, I hope your trip will really take place and all of you guys will come here, those of you who planned this trip to the exclusion zone. Yeah, the locals still live in the zone, wondering about if some idiots wants to try to take items. Okay, well, maybe there are some idiots that try to take items from here, as I say, but I never saw them in person. And there are really people who are living here all the time. They are called self-settlers or resettlers. These are mostly old people. They came back after the accident, sometime after the accident, because they were feeling so homesick and because they love this place so much. And they stayed to live here. But the thing is that these resettlers, yes, they live not in 10-kilometer zone where we have burial sites and the level of radiation that is higher than natural. They are living in the 30-kilometer zone, which is in the air, the level there is back to normal. So basically in the town of Chernobyl, for example, the level is really, really back to normal. And how many of them is left? There are 100 people that are left. Mostly they are 70, 80, 90 plus years old. Guys, I hope I will live as long as these resettlers live, who are living here and kind of in contaminated area, but their life is longer. But the thing is that here they have less stress than we have in the big cities. Maybe that is the reason why they live so long. Maybe they live so long because of radiation, because there are no clear answers to how the small, low levels of radiation affect our health. Well, guys, it was a pleasure to talk to you. I already told you goodbye, okay? I will just walk in this direction until the signal disappears. So, okay, goodbye. Pleasure to meet you. Watch my other videos about Chernobyl. I will put more. I will just hope that my next live stream will have higher quality than this one. Okay, so goodbye. Thanks so much for your attention. How to turn it off? Do you know? Thanks so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Have a great day too.